Got very good arms.
He didn't fall? Inconceivable. You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Skip, aka Skipntosh, with my man Wes. Say what's up to the people, Wes. Oh, I still messed it up. Nope, there we go.
How's everybody doing? The Skip and Pete connection is back, baby. We're gonna talk some X-Force, some of that Dawn of X goodness. I couldn't be more excited.
Wes, the end of the last one of X-Force number 4 was crazy, and I really liked how it ended. And I was pretty sure that it was going to be a very interesting issue, but I wasn't sure to what degree. Obviously, they had to address what happened at the end of it. They're jumping through the gate to try to get to that other task force that was invading one of their Silicon Valley businesses that they had. I think it was more of like a research type facility. But they blow the Krakoan gate, and Wolverine is cut in half, and Kid Omega is basically like decapitated, straight, just cuts his head off. So that was fun. But
they're like, oh, he's gonna bleed out. I'm like, no, that's a terrible assumption. And then next thing you know, Wolverine's torso's running through people and killing everybody, and that's definitely the most fun part of this comic book. It definitely made me smile. And I think that was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, that part was really cool. I enjoyed it. It was weird, and you're right. The second that they were like, "Oh yeah, he's pretty much dead. He'll bleed out," I think everybody should have known. But I, even with that, I was like, "Homeboy ain't got no legs. Like, like, how are they gonna deal with that part?" So I thought that was pretty interesting. I enjoyed it. I agree with you overall. I still don't feel like the villains are fleshed out enough. And being that they're waiting so long, to kind of give us more of an introduction, and I get it, you want to, this is we're reestablishing X-Force. You want to give that time. You want to reintroduce everybody. You want to, give characters time to develop and all that stuff. Some sort of confrontation. How did you feel the pacing of this comic is starting to, not just this issue, and then overall how it's starting to feel?
I thought it was okay. I think the pacing with Dawn of X is an issue. Like they're pumping way too much stuff out. It feels like a lot, and then you realize maybe it's not going very far. But I think you're onto something. I don't think they're really doing traditional story arcs where you get a story in four comics, or you get this is a 7-issue arc. I think that because they're all connected, they're just one big story.
Interesting enough, but interesting and fulfilling are two different things. And I think this book, especially with this issue, it continued to be interesting. The one of your favorite parts, and I guess we can talk about some of our favorite parts now. One of your favorite parts was the Black Tom part. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, that was awesome because I did This Week in X-Men with Doc, not too long ago, and he goes, when Krakoa killed that guy on the island, the last surviving member of the assassination team, I was like, are you sure that was Krakoa? I was like, I just took it as it was a mutant. Maybe it was Black Tom Cassidy. He goes, no, it had to be Krakoa. Now we learn that Krakoa is like inhabiting Black Tom Cassidy. He's doing stuff when he's sleeping. Like Krakoa is using his body to do stuff. So I think we were both right. So I thought that was really cool. And I think Krakoa is doing some nefarious stuff by using Black Tom Cassidy and his abilities for its own purposes. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I like that concept still. Like, though it's unconfirmed, to me, nothing makes more sense than Krakoa has its. I mean, and I think that's something that has been established at least. If I look across all the books, and if I'm looking for a continuous theme, the one theme that seems to go across all of the books is what the like you said, you were one of the first people that pointed it out. What is the effect that Krakoa is having on all of these people? It's kind of like they're either drunk, or high on Krakoa, or they don't trust Krakoa like Wolverine, or they flat out don't like Krakoa like in the Fallen Angels books, with Quanon, aka Psylocke, and X-23 and Cable. Like, was there another favorite part about the book that you had, Wes?
Oh, I don't know about favorite part. Like I said, the Wolverine part was probably the most fun. The Black Tom Cassidy thing was the most interesting. One of the oddest parts was was Beast like on the comms with Domino trying to stand her down from murdering everybody, and he's like kind of like, yeah, you can destroy him or beat him to a pulp, but you can't kill him. And then I don't know, Beast just seems a little off. Like he doesn't feel like Beast to me. What do you think?
I see where you're coming from. What I did like about it, I liked how it escalated. Beast to me started off with Beast, how I kind of knew him. He was, quoting prose and, and different like philosophers and poets and stuff like that. Because he started off with hey, remember Domino that, such and such said two things matter: the spirit and the sword, and the spirit will always overcome the sword. So he started off like, kind of non-confrontational, very highly intellectual Hank McCoy, and then ultimately he kind of escalated in a fairly natural way to, a Beast. Beast, stand down. You need to let me do my job. Now, the thing about it was the conversation was awkward. I actually feel like Domino made it more awkward than Beast did. And I understand why Domino made it awkward. Obviously, these people violated her.
They took revenge,
yeah. So, but I think even though I felt how awkward that was, but now speaking to you and you, expressing it to me, and then me thinking about it like that, in a way, I think that might be better writing than I gave it credit for, because I feel like they both had their reasons for why they were talking to each other the way that they did, and I feel like Domino was more out of character than Beast was. I feel like Beast was more in character, but Domino had a damn good reason to be out of character because of what they did to her. So that might have been more natural of a situation than maybe I gave it credit for originally. It's awkward.
It's really tense. It's a tense-filled moment, and that's what he was building up. He was building the tension, like, is she, can he stand her down, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which kind of led to the next part, which was the reveal on the villains. We know Big Bad is Zeno, and we know like the guy that's leading the Big Bad is Peacock, or at least that's what I'm calling him. He's got the peacock tattoos. He's got the mask, and they do the interrogation on the lone survivor that Domino brings back, and he's not Zeno. They're like contractors. They're mercenaries, and so that was a letdown. Like this wasn't Zeno being 3 steps ahead of the X-Force, and as soon as they started coming through the thing, they blasted it because they wanted to pop their heads off and steal their bodies and use their DNA to make their soldiers that they're kind of creating, which I thought was be really cool. It was like, oh, these guys are contractors. That's not as exciting. They're not even ahead. They got lucky. They blew the gate, and it just so happened they were coming through. So that was a letdown for me. I thought X-Force was playing catch up, that the enemy Zeno was way ahead of them. I'm with you. It didn't end on the note that I wanted it to. I was kind of, that part was a letdown to me, to be completely honest.
There's a very good reason for Zeno to hire to hire, third party people to do stuff, because it limits how much information they have, and it limits a link to them. So strategically, that's smart. From a writer's perspective, to think that strategically, that's intelligent, that's smart, and it's not a bad idea. But unfortunately,
operationally, it's a terrible idea because you don't have control of those people. Once you start bringing in contractors like into a war zone, guess what they're going to do? They're going to fuck up. It happens every time. Trust me. That's why it was
I'm trusting Wes on this one. Wes has a lot more experience with that stuff than I do. So let's call. So if it's not strategically wise to do that, let's say I'll call it a creative idea.
Do it, but it never works out. That was like, that's why I was let down. There's also a letdown. In the last page we learned that Hank McCoy is contacting like a mercenary group called Merc on the dark web or whatever, and so the X-Men and Krakoa are going to hire their own private army to protect them. Like, I don't know, makes them seem kind of weak. I hated it.
See, and that was kind of rolling into my point. You can come up with creative ideas and stuff like that, but ultimately the results matter. So yeah, like one, having them hire the third party guys. Actually, Wes's point was proven correctly. They did screw up, and that was true. They failed, and ultimately the mutants got their hands on one of those guys, and they were able to extract enough information, at least more, more than none, and they got a visual of the Peacock dude from the Zeno. So Wes was right on that. And then not only that, then on the flip side, okay, here comes another creative idea, but now you're looking for people that are less powerful than you to protect you.
Plus also people with their own interest. Yeah, you're paying them money, but someone else can give them money, and then they'll just turn on you. These are mercenaries. They're not people
hired
you can
guns.
trust.
Right, exactly. The services for hire, and whoever has the higher bid gets their services. It's really that simple.
Or,
so
some of them are going to be mutant haters. They might be like, well, I'll take the money, but as soon as I get an opportunity, I'm going to sabotage them. When I was when I was doing my tour, we all of a sudden, one night our fiber optic cables got cut. Well, there was nobody bad on the base. It was obviously somebody that we'd hired, probably one of the cooks or something. And that's the way it goes.
It's crazy, man.
Because you don't have people that have allegiance, to your own cause once you start hiring and that stuff out.
One of my favorite parts was when, how am I forgetting his seriously, the dude that makes the weapons, Forge, when he picked up Wolverine, his two halves with his mech suit that he made, which that mech suit was pretty cool because I like mech. And he squished them together, and then he just held them together in the middle, and he was like, "You got to heal up." Yeah. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's a creative idea. I like that's interesting, and I like it. It results in something interesting in the story. But all this other stuff, it's starting to, like I said, man, it just really starts to feel like it's meandering. And he can show up in the office, or he could tell Jordan White, like, hey, it's gonna go here. Or he could tell Jonathan Hickman, like, hey, I'm gonna do this next. And Hickman can be like, that's more creative than what Teenie Howard is bringing me. Go for it. But
I think, in one of the other parts is they're in a reading order. They have to be read in order. So, they have story beats, and all of a sudden maybe there's a 3-issue part where basically X-Force can't move forward until Marauders and Excalibur catch up, because they're going to converge at one point, and then you're getting, kind of meandering stories. So I think that these stories should be all interconnected on an event. But I think just on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis, I don't think the execution is very satisfying. But I do love X-Force.
X-Force for you, ladies and gentlemen. This is where it's headed. We'll definitely be on the next one. We'll give you our honest thoughts on it next time around. We still got the coffee page. Anybody who wants to contribute in ongoing support, we really, really thank you. It really does help us out with some of the costs and things that we have and some of the things that we're trying to roll out. Keep your eyes out for the podcast network eventually rolling out here more soon. Thank you for everybody who's been tuning in on the new way that we've been deploying content with introducing more graphics and making it more discussion based. Because ultimately, that's what we like to do, man, right? We read these comics ourselves in most cases, or if you don't, there's plenty of videos out there where people do breakdowns, like my man Stacks. But after that, we like to talk about it. So thanks to everyone that's been around there. Make sure you are joining the Discord if you haven't already, and we'll discuss things a little further on Twitch here, answering some questions for about 5 or 10 minutes. So make sure you tune in there. Wes, anything else that we need to plug?
There will be no Outside the Bleed next week. I'm going to be out of town and indisposed. Likely no Geek Span as well. But there will be content on the channel. I'm doing my best. Don't think there will be 2 videos a day, but I'm going to try.
There it is. So just stay tuned, and we'll be back with you guys soon. Geek Span tomorrow. Later, y'all.
Absolutely. Later.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.